Before we jump into the details, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, so you never miss an update on the latest crime cases we unravel together. Stunning landscapes and vibrant cities. Beneath the idyllic setting of Tiarli Palmer's foster home lay a house of lies where a girl was sexually abused and murdered. She was pretty, creative, a free spirit, and just 12 years old when she was placed into a foster home amid rolling green lawns with horses in the yard. Was born April 2003, to Cindy Palmer. She can't take care of her, so Cindy Palmer decided to put her to care home for adoption. On the face of it, Tiarli Alyssa Rose Palmer appeared to be lucky. Her new family ran two businesses called Miss Julian's Family Day Care and an American-themed food truck called Nothing Healthy Here, and she now had two big brothers. After Tiarli's childhood living with her drug-affected single mother Cindy, and living in and out of care homes, the little girl had spent 2 happy years with gimpy foster mother, Julie Pemberton. Then in January 2015, she was sent to live with the Thorburns at their sprawling modern home with a swimming pool. It was located on an isolated stretch of road at Chambers Flat, in a rural pocket of strawberry farms and horse paddocks at Logan, south of Brisbane. The bright but vulnerable girl had entered a house of harm she would never escape. Ms. Pemberton, who gave up Tiarli when she withdrew altogether from foster caring, later told 9 News that Tiarli had run away 10 times in her 10 months at the Thorburns. She also said Tiarli hated her new home, although the exact nature of her misery wasn't clear. Julian and Rick Thorburn were aged in their 50s, and their elder son Josh, then aged 19, worked in the home childcare business while unemployed and recovering from an injury. The slightly built young man, who had been bullied at school for being a dancer, was apparently afraid of his father. The younger son, Trent, 18, described himself as a dancer, metal fabrication apprentice, and classic car builder. The blonde selfie-obsessed Trent had started taking advantage of Tiarli as her big brother. October 2015, 3 fishermen found Tiarli's badly decomposed body floating in the Gold Coast's Palmer River, 30 kilometers south of where she was last seen. Police divers found one of Tiarli's shoes, but her school uniform and pink backpack were missing. Funeral takes place. After 7 months, an anonymous phone call takes place, a tip to the police officer. On the night that Tia died, she and I got into an argument. She was messing about and she wouldn't go to bed. She was being stubborn and it escalated into her running away again. She packed her bag and she headed off down the driveway. I tried to talk her around to get her to come back to the house and told her that she was being silly. I followed her down the driveway to the front gate, which is about 200 meters, and I decided I would bring her back to the house. I got my arm around her and tried to walk her back. She started struggling and I had to hold her tighter. She started screaming and swearing at me, and I told her to stop because our neighbor was close to our driveway and it was very late at night. It got worse, so I put my hand over her mouth and kept going. When we got to the veranda, I let her go and she fell to the ground. I picked her up and put her on the seat. She fell to the side again. She didn't respond to me when I spoke to her. Her eyes were closed and I didn't think she was breathing. I must have accidentally suffocated her with my hand over her mouth and holding her so tightly around her waist. I don't remember anything that happened after this. I don't know if I tried to resuscitate her. I know that I'm responsible for Tia's death, and it is something I struggle to live with. I am truly sorry. After her horrific death, within the walls of a packed Brisbane courtroom, a full picture of what actually happened to her still cannot be fully revealed. On the fateful night of October 29, 2015, in the confines of the family's comfortable Chambers Flat home south of Brisbane, Trent Thorburn tearfully confessed to his mother, Julian, that he'd had sex with Tiarli several times. The young girl had complained at dance class that night she had stomach pains. She had boasted with her foster parents about having a secret that would get her kicked out of the house. Both foster parents knew Tiarli knew what sex was and how it worked. It was dismissed as the jokes of a silly young girl who was learning about sex education in school. The entire family swore a vow of secrecy about what happened, burying it under a fake story of Tia going to school the next day and going missing.
we had to keep it all a secret. We had to pretend like we didn't know anything and, yeah, pretend.
Josh would later lie to police, telling them he'd spoken to Tiarli in the morning as she'd been getting ready for school, before she ran away. But it was his mother Julene who had orchestrated the cover-up, because she did not want to lose her family and lifestyle. Julene and Rick held a family meeting with Trent and Josh, telling the boys, it's all been taken care of. That evening on Facebook, Rick Thorburn advanced the lie, posting messages about the girl's disappearance and garnering sympathy and help. After reporting her missing, Rick would retrieve Tiarli's body and dump it in the river under the cover of darkness. 7 months after the killing, police received a phone tip-off. An anonymous caller told him Trent Thorburn, Rick Thorburn's son, may have had sex with Tiarli. Police were also informed of a family meeting that took place on the night she was murdered. Police then bugged the family home where they heard the parents coach the sons on their stories. They also found a Facebook Messenger chat where Trent confided in his cousin that he may have got Tiarli pregnant. In September 2016, police charged Rick Thorburn with the murder of Tiarli, interference with a corpse, perjury and attempts to pervert the course of justice. The police seized a car once owned by Rick Thorburn and took all 4 members of the family in for questioning. Trent later told the inquest he believed his father killed Tiarli to prevent him going to jail, were they to discover what he did. They charged Julene and Josh Thorburn with perjury and attempting to pervert the course of justice. Trent Thorburn was charged with incest, attempting to pervert the course of justice and 2 counts of perjury. He began a maximum 4-year, minimum 5-month sentence for incest and his other charges. Joshua Thorburn received a 3-month sentence, and Julene the mother a maximum 18 months. Rick Thorburn will spend the rest of his life in jail after pleading guilty to murdering the 12-year-old. He will need to serve 20 years in prison. Even with the knowledge of what heinous crime her husband had committed, she said she was never told what happened to her foster child. She had an inkling something horrible had happened when she walked through the door of the family home and Rick said Tiarli was no longer with them. Rick Thorburn will not be eligible for parole until 2038.